Hello everybody and welcome back to Hart Talks. Well, it's been ages since I've done a sharing stories, obviously because of COVID, but this lady is in my bubble, so so I wanted to do an interview with Isabel. This is Izzy Roberts, and after the intro she is going to tell you all about who she is, what she does, and how we got to know each other. Okay, so hi everybody, and hi Isabel.
Hi Stephen.
This
sounds so formal.
This is Izzy Roberts, also known as Izzy, and Izzy's my ex next door neighbour, my friend through music, and a number of other things. You know, just this and that. But we've known each other for how long now?
Well, about. Would be 4 or 5 years, nearly 4 or 5 years.
So Isabel used to live next door to me.
I did.
But then she moved. She left me. She ran away to another part of London.
Not because of Steve.
Not because of me, no. And Isabel's a performer, aren't you, Izzy?
I am.
And I kind of wanted to get her on so that she could tell her story about who she is, what she does, her career, because I think it's really interesting, and I'm sure you will too. So Izzy, can you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Okay. I'm a singer. That's what I am, really. I'm an entertainer.
It sounded like the first line of a song.
Pearl's a singer. No, I'm a singer. I think I was a born entertainer. There was never entertainment in my family previous to me.
Right.
But I sing. And people say, oh, what do you sing? Oh, you're a singer, what do you sing? Well, I do everything. Mm-hmm. I am a recording artist. I am a session singer. My love is performing live. I work with bands, all genres, pretty much jazz and soul and all that sort of thing. R&B, lots of reggae because I'm from Caribbean heritage, so that comes naturally. And basically just performing for people up and down the country, private parties, whatever it might be. Then also recording sessions, and I've had some releases and worked with some big names. So,
as you say, you've had experience of doing live. You've got an album. How many years have you been doing this for?
Right. Well, I started singing professionally when I was 23.
So that was just 2 years ago.
That's right. In fact, I hadn't even started yet, really, if we go back. I was 23 when I professionally got approached by somebody and recorded a couple of singles that went out under a pseudonym, and then one particular single in the 80s that was quite a good dance hit at the time. Right. It was around about the era of, I now remember it just as a reference point, Alexander O'Neill was in the charts at the time with Sherelle. And likewise were, if you remember them, 5-star.
Yeah, I remember 5-star.
And I promoted that single up and down London.
It's funny you saying that because I didn't know this, but I remember when artists used to do a song that they didn't have their name on it.
Yeah.
That happened quite a lot, didn't it, back in the day?
Yeah.
Was that weird, hearing your song but not having your name on it?
I think I was naive at the time. I think I was a young singer and I was keen to get something released. So I kind of went with the flow.
Yeah.
All we did was actually change Isabel to Sable.
Okay.
And drop the I. That's all we did.
Okay.
And funny enough, some of those recordings have resurfaced as the years have gone on. People look for them.
Yeah.
The song that I'm known for, Rhythm of Your Love, was released in 80s. Charted, did very well. A bit of a bad time for financial promotion. Most independent labels at that time had no money behind them to promote. So it was all important to try and get a top of the pop slot.
Right.
I think I missed it by about position 2.
Okay.
If you got into the top 50, you got onto top of the pops.
Okay.
But my track still did very well.
Yeah,
it was a dance track and it was all over London.
Yeah.
It was played, it was promoted. I went up and down, top of country, bottom of country.
The gay clubs loved it.
The gay clubs loved it. They absolutely did. They absolutely did. And people still love it now. Yeah. I mean, the other day I did a telephone radio reference and interview with a guy called Lindsay Wesker on My Soul Radio. He played it, featured it. He does a rundown of alphabetical artists, and he actually talked about me and played it.
Right.
It kind of resurged.
Okay.
There have been many approaches for a remix,
Right.
but remixes is as remixes do,
Yeah.
and I'm toying with the idea still myself, and the writer. I'm very close to the writer of the song, who wrote the song, but I'm known for that song particularly, amongst other things, and an album I did later on. And
Okay, so just you talking about the charts and the that time, was it hard for a woman of colour to try and get anywhere in the charts back then? Because obviously now we're in the middle of this uprising, which is long overdue. But you know, what was it? You know, I think the 80s, was it harder?
In the 80s, it was easier.
Was it?
I thought.
That's what I was wondering.
Because that resurgence of the British black sound of music, black British sound was very...
And there was Yaz and
there was Yaz and there was Sonique and all of those kinds of people.
Remember that, yeah.
Now, we had it easier because we were novel at the time. That British sound, we were competing with the American sound.
Right, yeah.
And we devised our own Brit funk. We call it Brit funk.
Yeah.
So, not hard, but then we never had the money behind us to make it better.
Yeah.
And then by the time the money came in from the record companies, we weren't of interest because the little pop groups and the little mixes and you know, the Spice Girls and all of that.
Yeah.
That was big money. That's who they invested.
So being in the business, Isabel's also a mother of two. Now, I have a lot of friends who are parents and are still in the business, and it's how was that for you? You know, as a woman of colour, and trying to get out there and be a mum as well as trying to promote yourself. Was that hard?
It was hard because there was a lot of organisation, but then I think that comes with parenthood, period. You know, whatever your occupation. I know as the years have gone on that my children and children of my colleagues, my peers, my performing peers, some children have suffered from their parents being away on tour, going away, you know, having to take that band gig for weeks and going abroad to Europe or going wherever you may go. And I did do that for a period of time, but I was very conscious of not doing that until my children were old enough to understand why I was doing it. All of my live work and going out every night, getting glammed up, getting dressed, going out, getting in the car, going to meet the band, doing that. We just had, you know, a whole structure of babysitters and in and out and in and out. Yeah. The children at the time, when they were children, just understood that's what I did. And but it was hard, but you never mentioned your children. When you were performing, you never mentioned your children. Right. You were always that sexy symbol on stage, pretending to be something else, just to keep the whole... Yeah,
you were available.
That's right, you were available. Right.
So obviously, we've all been in lockdown, we've all had everything going on with COVID. It's all changed, hasn't it? It's all changed massively since COVID. And we've been putting our heads together recently about getting Isabel out there, you know, like this, you know, online. To not be doing that every weekend, because it was it was a routine for me, and I only lived next door, you know. So how has it been, you know?
It is bizarre. It's bizarre. When the weekend comes, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, more or less, and maybe even during the week sometimes, that was gig night. You didn't do social family parties, you didn't do get-togethers, you didn't go out for dinner with people, and you didn't because it was a weekend. That's when you work. It's work time. It is awful in the sense that natural kind of urge to just get up, grab your microphone, sing to people, perform, leave a club dancing, getting rebooked. It's not happening. That's the live element. Quite apart from that, I would get session work, and I would get top line vocals that I would do for people, you know, songwriters, and that's not even happening. And if it is happening, it's happening remotely via internet, which is a different medium. If you're a natural performer and your home is a stage, to suddenly have to, as we are now, performing to, relating to an audience down the lens is just a strange thing to happen all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's a new skill almost.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
You'd do videos, you'd have people shoot you at your gig, but you would still be just doing what you're doing on a stage. You wouldn't necessarily be focusing on that person with the camera, but you wouldn't focus on what those people were filming while you were doing what you were doing. They're doing what they're doing, and you're playing to people. And that's the thing about the COVID thing. No person contact. How can you be a live, full-on entertainer who works a crowd and works a room, and then all of a sudden you can't do that anymore?
You can't do that, yeah. From your album, Izzy, for me, listening to it, the first time I ever heard it, I thought it just sounded like a smoky jazz club type of feel, you know. How was it making a CD? How, you know? That
was a great experience, because that was a project I was approached for as an original album of original songs. All jazz, with my name on it, and I co-wrote some of them.
Right.
Most of those tracks on the album, called Leave the Man Alone, Izzy Roberts, is, and I'm sure Stephen will refer to it.
I will, I'll put a picture up here of it.
It was recorded fully live. More or less every track was 1 or 2 run-throughs and then fully live. Fully live, 100%. No switching and tweaking and enhancing, none of that. Right. Fully live. So I'm very proud of that album, because not many people can do that.
Right.
And it's become a specialised bit of material that people find on the internet now.
Yeah. When I bought it, it was about 2 years ago, and it was amazing to go online and see, you know, people were bidding on it.
Oh yeah,
you know, it was like, you know, it hadn't lost it.
There are two tracks on that album that are my absolute favourites, and one of them is very apt for these times. It's called "Stay on This Wavelength," and it's about music and communicating remotely over the internet. And it just seems to sit completely correctly with what we're going through, all of us now.
It's weird, isn't it, how we see connections with things that when you did that song you didn't even think about.
Not
you
at
didn't
all.
This, you
Not
know.
at all.
If there was something you could tell the world, Izzy, about you, you know, something, whether it be about music, whether it be about you as a person, whether it be about what's important to you at the moment, you know, if you had a chance to have 60 seconds, what would be your...
It depends what...
I'm just setting up your soapbox here for you to get on it, you know.
I've had lots of, you know, quite dramatic parts of my life. My life story is quite dramatic in itself, apart from being a performer. Just basic human kindness and positivity is all that I advocate for the world. And I try and do that in every aspect of my life. In performing as a singer, as a performer, as a person, meeting people day to day. I try to be, I'm not even trying to be inspirational. I just believe that inspiration is the only way.
Yeah.
Positivity and inspiration is the only way. And I'm speaking, as you well know, you know, the precursor being that I've had lots of tragedy in my life. Yeah. But it's get up and get on. Yeah,
it's the difference between being a survivor and being a victim.
Right, fight or
you
flight.
Know?
Fight or flight. And I am your fighter.
Yeah.
I am your archetypal DNA fighter.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. Isabel's the kind of person who it's great to have on your side, but don't mess with her, you know, because she will tell you how it is, won't you? You know, you will be like, you know...
I'm 5'1" and, you know, people run.
But you've had to...
I've had to fight. I've had to survive.
That's because of life, but also because of the industry you've been in, you know, you can't be...
No.
You can't be...
You can't, no.
Because people will stand all over you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So obviously the industry is changing, and we don't know what the future is going to be for people like yourselves, people in theatre, you know. What are you doing at the moment to try and still be heard?
Well, of course, we had the clap for the carers, so I did that quite a lot. I think you saw clips of that.
Yeah.
That was a strange thing, because the neighbours, my neighbours where I live locally, absolutely lapped it up. It was suggested, come out and sing Over the Rainbow, all musicians on your doorstep for the NHS fighting COVID. That transpired into the neighbours saying, well, can you sing 2 or 3 more? So I did. And then I did an open air concert for my neighbours, just ad hoc, when they were still in quite strict lockdown. People who had been shielding, who hadn't been out. Yeah. They absolutely, it just made me realise how much music helps people. We say it because we understand it and we live it and we breathe it. It's part of our DNA as musicians. But I really saw how it helped people. I saw an elderly lady, 12 weeks locked down in her house in her late 70s. Hadn't even been out, hadn't even opened the curtain, she was so frightened. Yeah. Her daughter brought her out, dancing away to a Tamala Motown tune that I belted out, and just outside my house. And so in that respect, that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm doing going forward, hopefully, to do more open air concerts. Because at the moment, Boris has restricted us. Yes. We are not to be heard. Yes. Yeah. We're not to sing. Did you know we're not to sing songs that make people dance? Yes. How bizarre. I did hear Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. Isabel, is it possible for you to sing songs that don't make people dance? Because the majority of your repertoire. Yeah, even my slow ones, they dance. Yeah. You've got that kind of voice though. It's kind of, you always know that there's a bit of funk there. Yeah. Like I mean, and my achievement at the end of a gig is having a dance floor full of people. Yeah. That is completely at odds. That's when you know what you've done, what you were there to do. That's right. It? Yeah. And people paid me to do that. Yeah. My industry has collapsed. We've kind of imploded. So can you tell us about this, just give us a quick rundown of the story. Hallelujah. How it happened, how Stevie Wonder was with you going to church. Yeah. I lie not. He came to London, he was visiting, and he was at a club the night before on a Saturday night with a friend of mine. We did some BVs for him. He actually came in to eat some food in this very well-known restaurant in Knightsbridge. He took my friend's telephone number. She called me first thing the Sunday morning and said, you need to get ready and come round to where I live in Caledonian Road, which is North London. Caledonian Road, because Stevie Wonder's coming and we're going to church. So I woke my son up because I said, get up. And he said, we're going to church. What? Why? Put on your clothes, we're going to church. And her sister's church that her sister was affiliated to was in Dalston Market in Wrigley Road, East London. Very famous Caribbean, black area, black market. Quite multicultural now, but very much known as a Caribbean market. At the back of the market there is a gospel church. And so we rang ahead and we told them that we were coming. And we were with Mr. Stevie Wonder in his car. And we all walked into the church and we sat down. When you visit a church and you've never been, the pastor always usually asks, oh, if you've never been here before, can you stand up and introduce yourself to the congregation? So we all stood up. I said, oh, my name is Izzy Roberts and I'm very pleased to be here and I'm a friend of so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And my son stood up and he said, oh, my name is so-and-so and I've come with my mum. And Stevie Wonder stood up in the middle of this church and said, hello, my name is Stevie Wonder and I send my greetings from my church in, I think it was Ohio, from my church, sending love and recognition to you all here in London. Thank you very much. That's amazing. I mean, I don't think that church has ever been so packed because I think the word flew round that he was coming.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to?
No, I'm very happy.
You feel you covered everything?
Stephen Hart Talks is the place to be.
That is. So thank you, everybody. I will put details for Isabel down below. I will also post the link for her music and you can check her out, because she's good. She's very good. She is. So thank you, everybody. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you for being a guest.
You're welcome.
Very,
Stephen.
very nice.
Very formal. And I can't give you a hug, but I'll give you a virtual hug. Virtual hug.
Virtual hugs for everybody. And I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Okay. Thanks, Izzy.